Guys, this entrepreneurship stuff, this business stuff, this SMMA stuff, this agency life stuff, what I found out is it's literally 80% mental, 20% tactics. No joke, super cliche, but it's more about managing your downside than it is your upside. Let me get into what I mean by that. So guys, welcome back to the channel. Montel Gordon here. Hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. If you're new around here, please drop a like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you turn on that little notification bell and just, I don't know, put something in the comment section like when you first found my videos or whenever you started your SMMA. That just helps me boost my engagement, get my message out. Not only that, but I'll actually reply to you guys in the comment section. With that being said, guys, let's jump straight into the video. So what I've noticed with SMMA is that it's literally a game of being able to manage your downside more than it is being able to manage your upside. Because I've noticed that most of the time it's all about like just being able to sit down and do the work for an hour without even being distracted, and that takes mental discipline. It's not motivation, by the way. Never rely on motivation. It's more about, you know, being able to hack your mind into doing the hard things that you don't want to do but you know you have to do. Because I know a lot of us are out here running around just quote unquote learning SMMA. Do you know how many calls I have with people and I speak to them and they've told me that they've been learning SMMA for 4 months. It doesn't take you 4 months to learn that. All you need to do is buy an email or sign up to Upwork and start applying to jobs, and then have a media buyer or a social media manager actually deliver the services. Now, of course, that sounds super easy to do. Make sure you have at least maybe just 2 days. Take 2 days out to learn SMMA and just really just go to Google or even YouTube and just type in, you know, how to start a social media marketing agency. Watch the first 2 pages of videos, and I'm telling you that will be enough. That's probably even too much. I'm telling you, this business model is all about getting in there, getting stuck in, if you will, as British people say, getting stuck in, and just, you know, just fucking going for it and pulling the trigger and actually taking action, if you will, and learning from your mistakes as you go along. Don't try to, and I made this in one of my previous videos, that perfection paralysis is the #1 killer of all businesses. Feeling underprepared, you're always going to feel underprepared. You tend to jump straight into it. So guys, what I want to do in this video though is not go down that route. I want to go down into, okay, so now we know like we need to manage our downside instead of our upside, because I know that there's going to be so many days where you feel like nothing's working for you, nothing's dropping, if you will, quote little basketball restaurant for you ballers out there, and just nothing seems to be working basically. So and that gets disheartening. So what you need to do, guys, is kind of put in fail safes and understand like this sort of stuff and kind of have a mental shift about all this stuff as well, because it really is about managing your downside more than it is about, you know, managing your upside. And let me talk about how you can hack your brain for success and how you can hack your brain into actually enjoying doing the hard things. So #1 is I would immediately go and create yourself what you call a mindset journal, or alchemy of self, Sam Ovens calls it. And this is a journal basically of who you want to be, what character you need to become in order to achieve your goals. Because just a quick side note, the person you are right now is never going to achieve your goals. You need to actually morph into a new person in order to achieve your goals. In order to get change, you yourself have to change. That's a big thing in this whole game. You have to change. You need to know who you're becoming, why you're chasing these goals, why you even want this business in the first place. So you need to define your why. You need to define who you're trying to be, what you're trying to achieve, and again, have your like a deep, serious think about why you're actually doing this and what it is you actually want to achieve. Not only that, then you need to figure out like what characteristics does your new character need to have in order to go out and crush the day. And what I'm talking about there is, does your character need to be a sharp ass salesperson, which I can tell you right now he does. He will do if you're going to be doing SMMA and jumping on sales calls. He needs to be able to handle objections. He needs to be able to consistently work on his business for years on end without letting up. That sort of stuff. Those are the sort of characteristics you need your character to be. I'm not talking about wacky shit here. I'm talking about real shit that makes you actually enjoy doing the work. So that's the first thing you need to do. Define your why, define who you need to be in order to achieve your dreams, and have that in your head. And that's called the force of future technique. And what I mean by that is, for example, let's say in the morning when you are, because this is a good little example of what all of us have to go through. Let's say you're it's the morning, you wake up at 6:30, 5:30, whatever time you wake up, and you want to go back to bed. What I basically do is I picture myself in the future already have achieved my goal. So I'm thinking about Montel in like 5 years time. He's a multi-millionaire, all that good shit. He has these habits. These are the things he does in the morning. He immediately wakes up. I think of him literally standing over the bed saying, Montel, get the fuck up, and like extending his hand over to actually like pull me up, and I visualize myself actually taking his hand and pulling myself out of bed. So that would be what you call the force of future technique. So I definitely use that in order to hack yourself. So when you sit down at your computer and you're so tempted to go and click on Instagram and go look at some big booty hoes and all that sort of shit, don't do that. Think about what your future self would say to you right there in that moment, and that's going to help you overcome that hurdle. That's one method. So the second method would be to not rely on motivation, rely more on your habits and routines. And what I mean by that is, look, motivation is this thing that just comes and goes. You should not be waiting for motivation to spark for you to then do your work. You need to have it, you need to do your work at a set time each and every day and create it and ritualize it and make it a routine. That right there within itself is worth, just literally watch that back. That right there is literally worth thousands of dollars to you. I kid you not. But the best way you can go about learning how to build good habits and routines and stuff like that is especially when it comes to the tough stuff. So for example, I know what it's like having to sit down at the computer. I do this every fucking day. I know what it's like having to sit down at your computer, pull up, for example, like Upwork, and then go and prospect jobs, or even just go and write your personalized emails and stuff like that. I know what it's like sitting down thinking that you need to go and pull in 20 leads today, and you need to go and find these leads and source them, and it feels like a big job, and it's just time consuming, very tedious, and you just would rather be playing PlayStation 5 or some shit like that. So here's what you do instead, guys. You want to use rituals, as in you want this to become like your holy ritual. Like you want to be working at the same time each and every day, so when this particular time rolls around, you should be at your computer doing your work. That's how I've done it. Not only that, but I use what you call the CAR method, which is cue, action, and reward. So you can also call it the TAR method, TAR, the trigger, action, and reward method. TAR sounds better, I guess. We'll use the TAR version. So trigger is wake up, morning routine. I sit at this chair, I'll sit on this chair facing the desk right there, 8:15 a.m. in the morning. The action, now that was my trigger. I sat down and I got to my computer. That's the trigger. The action is I complete 20 Upwork proposals, and then my reward after that is I go and watch anime or some shit like that, or go play some Nintendo Switch or some shit like that. That's what you need to do, guys. And what that's going to do is build what you call positive reinforcement in your brain. You're going to associate you doing the action with your reward. So now every time you want to go and watch anime, you know that you need to go and watch anime. For example, in my particular case, I know that I would first need to do the work in order to then reward myself with the anime. I start associating my reward, which is anime, which is me just relaxing, chilling, having a good time, watching anime and whatnot. Some dope ass anime being released these days, by the way. And there's the actual action stuff. So I link them. What happens is in your brain, it links them together, and it's almost like it associates you chasing your dreams and doing your outreach with your reward, basically. And that again builds positive reinforcements, and positive reinforcements allows you to be consistent with this stuff. So guys, another method you guys can actually use is what you call mental visualization, or rehearsal, if you will. Now this, don't even dare turn this off, because this is very, very important. This is how I actually learned how to get good at sales. I was such an introvert, guys, and I used to hate getting on sales calls. But what I used to do is mentally visualize myself. Now, this is where everybody goes wrong with mental visualization. Everybody visualizes themselves going and getting the Rolex, or picking up the car that they always wanted, or getting the keys to the apartment, which is cool. You should visualize that. Definitely visualize those. But what you should do is visualize the actions that are going to lead you up to being able to get that outcome. Because again, those are what you call outcomes, or lag measures, if you will. Lag measures are the things that come after lead measures. Lead measures are the actions, or the inputs, if you will, that get the output. So what you want to do is visualize yourself literally taking back-to-back calls and just getting grilled. Like literally, this is how you actually genuinely become good at this shit. Not only that, but I've distilled it down even further, and I'm gonna make a video of like why people are actually scared of like sales calls and cold calling, even though I don't really do cold calling myself. My camera's gonna die any second. I'm gonna turn this off. So guys, as I was saying, excuse me, my camera actually just died, but as I was saying, there's a reason why you are scared of, and I've distilled like the fear down as to why you're actually scared of sales calls. Comes down to, obviously, confidence comes from competence. We all know that. But if you actually go deeper than that and actually take a look, like, okay, I'm scared of sales calls, but why am I scared of sales calls? I'm scared of sales calls because I'm scared they're gonna ask me a certain question that I don't know the answer to. So the solution for that is literally just sit down, and this is the sort of work you've got to do on yourself, guys. You see, you've got to do work on yourself, because your business is just a reflection of yourself. You need to work on yourself and become a great you in order to create a great business. That a lot of people don't understand that like, your business is literally just a reflection of yourself. So what you need to do is literally sit down and actually figure out like what is it you genuinely are scared about in a sales call. They're going to ask you a question you don't know the answer to. Okay, so what would that be, that question that you fear the most, that you just don't want to answer the most, and then go about answering it. So whenever they do ask you that question, you then are able to answer it. And that again, you can actually do this physically, actually write that down, and you can actually do this mentally. So what I like to do, guys, is literally mentally literally picture myself, just close my eyes, literally picture myself. It sounds kind of woo and stuff like that, but literally what you want to do is actually picture yourself just literally being in those tough situations. For example, and this is the thing, guys, you actually want it to be, when you mentally visualize this stuff, you want it to be difficult, as in you're getting grilled, as in you're on a sales call and this guy just throwing objection after objection after objection. He's asking you questions such as, why on earth would I work with you when you don't even have great results? Why on earth would I work with you when I can just go and work with someone else? Why would I even make your agency different from the 20 people that have hit me up just this week alone? All those tough questions you want to just eke out and actually have answers to them, because what's going to happen is, guys, you're going to actually be prepared for those questions to come up. And what's going to happen is, whenever they ask that question, you're just going to smile in your head and be like, Montel told me to prepare for this shit, I can answer it, and it's boom, you can reel off the answer right there and then. So guys, that's how you would go about using mental rehearsal. Again, the difference in mental rehearsal I'm talking about here is, there's mental rehearsal where you're like just sat thinking about the outcomes, which is you going to the Rolex store and actually picking up your Rolex and whatnot, which is good. However, what you should be mentally rehearsing, and what you should spend 99% of your time mentally rehearsing, is you having to sit down at your computer. All your friends have gone out and whatnot on a Friday night, and you're just there on your own having to do very, very tedious tasks, such as your outreach, or like one of your clients just flares up and something goes wrong or some shit like that, and you have to fix it. But then obviously mentally rehearse yourself being successful at it. So picture it obviously being difficult first, but then you handling that situation, overcoming it, and then successfully solving that problem. That's how you go about mentally rehearsing. And not only that, guys, but the best thing about mental rehearsal is that your brain cannot actually distinguish and tell the difference between what's real and what's fake or imaginary, if you will. It's not fake, it's actually all real. Because think about it. Have you ever had a dream, right? Have you ever been sleeping and you had a dream where you fell in your dream and you just fucking like jump up immediately and you're like, what the fuck? I was just dreaming. But if your brain knew the difference between real life and what you just imagined or dreamt, then that wouldn't actually happen, because your brain would know, oh, it's just a dream. I'm not actually about to hit the floor, so I don't need to wake up. Your body wouldn't react like that. So there's all sorts of scientific studies that have been done with this. There's even been a study, I believe it was a basketball team in Australia or New Zealand or something like that. So guys, in this experiment, what happened was this scientist basically took a basketball team and divided them into 3 groups. So group A, B, and C. Group A did no physical practice or mental practice. Group B only did physical practice of shooting free throws. So they would obviously go to the line every day and practice, 100 free throws a day or something like that. And then group C did no physical practice, but they would sit down for an hour each day and picture themselves doing 100 free throws a day. Now apparently, I say apparently, but there's an actual thing, you can actually go and Google this shit. I'm genuinely being serious. Group A obviously didn't improve because they did neither physical practice or mental practice. Then there was Group B that did just only physical practice. Obviously they improved the most because they were doing physical practice. They improved by 23% or something like that in their free throws over a period of like 30 to 90 days, I believe it was. Don't quote me on that. But then Group C, which is the dudes that didn't actually go to the line, actually dribble the basketball in real life and actually shoot physically, but instead what they did was mentally, they actually improved 22%. So it's only 1% difference in improvement. So the Group B, again, the ones what physically practice, improved 23%, excuse me. And then the Group C improved by 22%. So it's 1% difference between the people that physically shot a ball and the people who mentally visualize themselves shooting a basketball, which to me is absolutely just proof of the fucking pudding in the pudding, if you will. This shit, like, our brain cannot distinguish between what's real and what's fake, which means you can literally rehearse taking 100 sales calls a day in the comfort of your own bed and actually get good at sales whilst not even physically having to speak to anybody except yourself in your own head. That right there is how you would hack your brain. That is genuinely an amazing hack. I utilize myself. I teach all my students this shit in the sales, in like the sales stuff and the mindset stuff of when it comes to sales. So I 100% definitely recommend it. So the last tip I'm going to give you guys for actually hacking your brain and enjoying doing the hard and difficult things that are going to bring you success that you know you need to do, but you just don't want to do them, is just remove all distractions, guys. So as you can see on my desktop, for example, except for this notification here, the only thing on my desktop is literally my Google Drive thing. I don't even know if you can remove that. But there's nothing in my like friggin' bin or anything like that. I only open like a couple tabs each and every time when I'm working. Like there's only like 1 or 2 tabs open when I'm working. There's no phone whenever I'm working. It's all turned off in another room. Remove all decisions basically. So for example, lay your clothes out the night before. Make sure you set up for example, I like to have like my morning tea in the morning. Very British, I know. I have my morning tea in the morning. So what I do is I actually set that up the night before. The reason being is because the next day, all I want to think about is completing my IPAs, those things that I know that I need to do that I'm probably probably gonna try and tell myself that I don't have to do them. I don't have to do them today, and I can just go and lay in bed, which we all know is a lie that your lower brain, your lower mind is telling yourself. So what you want to do is remove all decisions, because what's gonna happen is, and what I mean by remove all decisions. Imagine this: you wake up, right, and you've got pots to fucking wash. You've got to then manually build your tea, and then you've got to go manually pick out your clothes in your wardrobe. That is all taking mental capacity. You don't understand this, but most people don't understand this. But your willpower actually depletes throughout the day. It's like a muscle. You can actually, that means you can actually build it up. It can get weaker as well. This is all about building up your willpower and stuff like that. First of all, answering your, like in the morning, you're answering emails, you're messaging your friends, you're watching YouTube videos, and then you're having to pick out friggin' clothes out of your wardrobe, out of your 100 different friggin' t-shirts that you have. Then you have to go and build your tea. Then you have to wash the pots from the night before, and then you have to, you know, go make your breakfast. All those are decisions that are depleting your willpower, that are not productive ways of depleting it. If you're gonna deplete your willpower, you might as well just jump straight on your computer and deplete it using completing your IPAs, which is your outreach and your sales stuff. So that's how you would go about doing that. And again, this is how you remove decision fatigue, and it's why, like, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, wears the same t-shirt all the time. He just lays out the same t-shirt. I'm pretty sure he has multiple t-shirts that are just the same color, literally. It's why most of the like peak performers lay out their clothes the night before. They have personal trainers cooking their food for them, all this sort of stuff. They have like cleaners coming to the house. This is all about removing decision fatigue, automating and delegating unproductive tasks that are not going to, again, and the saying is, you can't get rich, you can't become a millionaire doing $10 per hour tasks. Like cleaning is a $10 per hour task. No offense to anybody who's a cleaner and whatnot, but you get the idea, guys. But that, guys, is a long ass winded video on how you go about hacking your brain for success. This has probably been one of my most valuable videos if you just sat down and actually watched it. If you did and you're here, thank you very much for actually getting all the way through this, and I appreciate it. Go and succeed, my guys. This whole stuff, 80% mental, 20% tactics. I'm telling you guys, if you can hack your own brain for success, you're gonna seek success. It's all about that consistency, building routines, making sure you don't deplete your willpower. It's more about not doing a bunch of stuff and just focusing on a couple things each and every day. That's the key. So guys, with that being said, hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.